Hello. So in today's video, my basic idea was that if somebody sat me down and said, what should I do with my money first? What's the one thing you'd recommend? The thing I would recommend is a lifetime ISA, and I want to convey the various reasons why it can help you both in later life and throughout your life. So firstly, who can open a lifetime ISA? So you have to be under the age of 40 when it's opened. You need to have the funds in it for at least a year before you can access the money. And you either have to be a UK resident, a member of the armed forces, or a Crown servant. The most common which of these is, say, a UK diplomat, or you need to be a spouse or civil partner of either of the latter two if you're not a UK resident. The main advantages of a lifetime ISA is that it can give you some flexibility, because some people are like, should I be saving for retirement or for a house deposit? The benefit of a lifetime ISA is that it can be used for both of these things. So, if you are going to use it for a house deposit, if you invest up to the maximum amount, which is £4,000 per financial year, the government gives you a 25% top up for every pound that you put in. So if you put in £4,000 full amount, they will give you an extra £1,000 per year. You can then invest this money in, say, a cash ISA, which if you're planning to buy a home within the next 3 to 5 years, I'd recommend doing this, because if there is a sudden crash in the market and the money's not there for your house deposit, then this could stop you from being able to make a purchase. However, after you've used it for this purchase or house deposit, or even if you're planning on renting forever, you can still use it as a retirement vehicle. And that's the other thing I want to talk about today. Because again, the main two things that you want to compare a lifetime ISA to are, people say you should either invest in an ISA, conventional ISA, or a SIP, which is a self-invested private pension, or salary sacrifice. For a salary sacrifice or a SIP, you get the money into that account pre-tax, but then you have to pay income tax on the way in. So if you're a normal income earner, you'd get a 25% top up on the way in and then pay tax on the way out. With an ISA, you pay after tax, so you get no benefit on the way in, but you get no income, dividend, capital gains tax on the way out. With a lifetime ISA, you get the benefits of both. So you get a 25% top up on the way in, and you pay no income, dividend, capital gains tax, etc. on the way out. So theoretically, this is a good way, with some government assistance, to try and help you get ahead in terms of investing and saving for your retirement. I want to now go over some examples of how you can use it. So say somebody's 35, and I'm going to use 35 in most of these examples of when somebody starts investing, because generally speaking, people start taking their finances more seriously in their mid-30s. So say you invested the full amount that you're allowed per financial year at 35 years old, so £4,000 from you and £1,000 from the government, so £5,000 every year, averaged over the months, between the ages of 35 until you're no longer allowed to put contributions into a lifetime ISA, which is at 50 years old. At that point, you personally have contributed £60,000, and the pot, if it's invested in a global index tracker, getting 8% per year, and compounded over those 15 years, you'd have about £140,000 at 50. If you left the money invested in an index tracker, global index tracker, getting 8%, you could then expect this money to grow even further to about £304,000 at 60. And at 60 years old, a lifetime ISA can be accessed penalty-free and tax-free. At this point, this gives you lots of options in life. So at 60 years old, you could say, I want to use the 4% rule to start withdrawing funds from the lifetime ISA, and this could give you about £12,000 if it is 300k. So 4% rule would be about £12,000. And you could use this to fund some travel goals, some improvements in the house. You could even use this to reduce your hours at work and get the additional income from the lifetime ISA. If you wanted to, say, ease into retirement by going part-time for a bit, or if you wanted to, say, look after grandchildren, etc. in your 60s. You could also say you're looking to retire at 68, but you actually decide at 60 years old you want to retire. Some of the funds may not be immediately available, such as your SIP, your workplace pension, your state pension, etc. won't be available from 60, but you could use this lifetime ISA money to bridge you the gap between 60 and 68 years old. There's not the most tax efficient route, but it could give you more healthy years in retirement. You can also just keep the money invested and have a much more flush retirement and pay a much less marginal tax rate in retirement at say 65, 68, etc. once the other things like your SIPs, your workplace pensions and state pensions may come in from then. The thing that I really want to convey again, as I said in the last video, is to make active decisions with your money. This gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of how you could use this cash, in terms of using it for a house deposit when you're younger, and then it can also help you save for your retirement, but it can give you lots of options earlier than some other vehicles can. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions below, please put them below and I'll try and answer them. Thank you very much.